tired of hanging around. Very near, yes, very far, very soft, yes, very clear. Come today, come today. What have they done to the earth? What have they done to our fair sister? Rather than plunder and repair and bitter, stuck her with knives in the side of the dawn and hide her with pincers and bag her down. I hear a very gentle sound with your ear down to the ground. We want the world and we want it. We want the world and we want it. Yeah. Now.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.
Does anyone else hear that evil laughter, or is it just me? Good evening, fans of fantastic films, and welcome once again to the Drive-In Asylum double feature. I'm Bill Van Ryn, fanzine editor of Facebook, or fanzine editor of Drive-In Asylum, and curator of Facebook page Groovy Doom. And Sam, I'm so glad you're here and you're feeling up to doing this show because I know you're a little under the weather.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here, and
Thanks.
We have a special guest on the program. Sean Midas is with us.
Hey, everybody.
Sean,
Thanks,
you
Sean.
all know him from the chat, and he's been on the show before. Well, here he is back. Welcome, Sean.
Yeah.
We got some great folk horror films to watch tonight. I don't know, like, have you always heard people use the term folk horror? Is that a recent thing?
That seems recent.
Very recent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we didn't have a classification for those.
I always called it weird British movies. And then,
Yeah.
and then they kind of had to figure out something so that it was sellable, I guess. and here we are.
And then now they're expanding folk horror to be global, not just British anymore.
Yeah, I've watched a few Australian ones, and I thought they were just devil movies, and now
Yeah.
I've learned.
Yeah.
What are some other folk horror films, like off the tops of your heads? Because I know that there was a great book that just came out, or there was a set from Severin.
Yeah, the Severance set,
Right.
the
And,
Woodlands Dark set. Well, the big three are the Wicker Man, Blood on Satan's Claw, and Witchfinder General.
Mm-hmm.
But I like Mark of the Devil comes up early, Conqueror Worm, those kind of set in those 15th, 16th century. Got some witchcraft going on, got some paganism going
it's
on.
scary.
Yeah.
Both of these movies are really scary. Probably the Blood on Satan's Claw more than the Wicker Man, I would say.
Yeah.
Because the Wicker Man, like, I was shocked when I saw it, even though I knew what the ending was going to be. I was still shocked by the way the story played out. Like, I wasn't expecting that stuff, and I didn't know how they were going to make this ending come about. So it's more than just a twist, an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
I had the benefit of seeing it cold. A friend introduced it to me back in the late 90s, and he had the Anchor Bay, this one, the 2-disc set, and he loaned it to me. He said, "I'm not going to tell you anything because you'll love it." And I watched it, and it at first I'm like, well, there's really not much horror to this,
Mm-hmm.
but it is a great, thriller and the tension. And is he going to figure this out? Did they really kill her? And then when you get to that final 5-7 minutes, it just hits you like a ton of bricks. Like most good movies, that first experience is astounding, and this one hit me like that. And I didn't see it coming because I didn't know anything about British folklore, to know from the title. And back in those days, they just released that disc, so it really hadn't made its way around yet, and internet boards and publicity, it began to build its culture and modern, cult film status. So I went into it totally blind, and I really had a great time.
I always think there's an undercurrent of unease in these movies that go beyond traditional horror, and just that there's something in the shadows of these movies. It doesn't, like The Wicker Man, especially, that things are off, but it isn't until the end you discover just how off they are and what it's all about. And Blood on Satan's Claw is maybe a little more in your face about it, and a little more exploitation, but in the best of ways. I really dig. There's an Australian movie, Alison's Birthday. It's on Tubi, but it's also in the Severance set, and it's really, really great. I guess you could consider Black Sunday and Black Sabbath kind of sort of Italian folk horror, which I dig. Obviously, dig both those movies. It's funny because some people even consider movies like Candyman to be Americanized folk horror. So you can really expand the, how you want to refer to it as much as you can. You can get in movies like Dark August, which I know Bill enjoys. And,
Children of the Corn.
Yeah, Children of the Corn. Dark Secret of Harvest Home is another good one. TV movies kind of come in. Don't Torture a Duckling, which is a movie I think seemingly bring up every week, the Fulci movie, but that's definitely, in the foothills of Italy where it's not Rome like every other giallo. But, and people kind of believe that there can be witches, and maybe there are. Eyes of Fire is a really great one too, I think, which is on the Severance set, and which is a lot like The Witch. This is the only folk horror shirt I had, so I figured I'd wear, I guess, The Witch.
I got
you got the best one, though, yeah.
I got my Wicker Man one. Summer off.
No, this is actually the 90th episode. I just forgot to change the title of the video before we started. I've updated it, but believe it or not, this is episode number 90.
Honestly, if I don't have COVID by the 100th, you guys can all meet me in the kitchen. Yeah.
Sam, one I watched researching for this it's on that new Severance set. It's called Robin Redbreast.
Yeah.
But you can get it on not Tubi. I think it's Tubi's got a. I
Yeah.
think they have the remastered version, and it's also on YouTube. But it's one of the few sort of in a modern setting, like Wicker Man or City of the Dead.
Mhm.
Rest are always, they feel they have to be in those medieval times and get the atmosphere from that kind of setting. But I think those three modern ones really kick it into high gear too, because you're like stunned, like this can happen today.
I think like even Psychomania has some elements of it because it's at the edge of British mysticism, which especially
Yep.
in the mid '60s got really big again. And to like the biker, that's why I love that movie, because like there's that whole weird subplot with the frog and eternal life, and it's like
Yeah,
I thought I was just gonna watch a movie with bikers terrorizing people. It can be
they
whatever.
have a
you
little
want it to be.
Stonehenge kind of
Yeah.
theme in there too.
Yeah, and there's also like Valerie and her Week of Wonders is pretty great. The White Reindeer. You mentioned Witchfinder General, which is one of my favorites. Even Zader kind of somewhat has elements of it, and so there's a lot of movies like on that. I'm just looking through the movies that were in that documentary. There's so many. Another one that I really like is The Believers, which was out a long time ago, but that has like that
Santeria.
weirdness where it's not till like the end of the movie where you realize just how bad things are getting.
Yeah,
Could The Blind Dead be considered folk horror?
I say yes.
I mean, they've got a legend behind them. They've got
Yeah,
villagers that know about them and
they
sacrifice people
went
to them.
against God's
You
commandments.
consider the church folk horror too, then. 'Cause
Yeah.
you got that whole insane opening with the cross falling on an entire town of people buried in a mass grave that will come back.
Demonia. That's got a
Demonia.
little.
Yes.
Demonia.
Yes. I'm so glad
Go
It had to be a
Funky.
show. We had to mention Demonia on every episode. So here
Yeah,
it is. We
there's
got
like
it
a
on the
little the ghost of Fulci is in back here with a knife at my eye, and he's like, if you don't mention Demonia and don't torture a
Don't
duckling,
torture a duckling.
I must destroy your eyes.
These names should be on everybody's lips.
They should.
Sam,
I'm so
I'm
glad to see
blanking.
everybody this week. By the way, I'm looking in the chat
What's the newer Hammer that the parents try to resurrect their dead daughter?
here.
Wigwood?
Yeah.
Is that
what is-
Wigwood?
anything for. What is it? Becky, remember that movie where the grandparents try to bring back the kid who's dead?
Yeah.
Everything for Jackson. Anything for Jackson.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen that, Bill? That movie's really good, actually.
It was on Shudder not too long ago, wasn't it? No,
yeah,
I didn't
it's
see
a
it.
good ride.
Well, Bill, you and I were talking. You even think the child has a little bit of little folky.
I don't know.
No, well, I think the parts that I think Messiah of Evil has folky parts to it.
Yeah.
definitely.
No, that's got a
Yeah.
definite
Definitely, yeah.
myth to it.
Especially anything that like where there's like a discussed legend that isn't completely they don't completely explain to you. Those are the kind of ones that I always think they're in folk horror. Where it's like there's something that it's kind of Lovecraftian in a way too, which you can kind of see some of these movies that way.
How about Wendigo?
Mm.
Is the
Or
Wendigo?
Ravenous.
Pumpkinhead.
So there would be
Pumpkinhead is Becca just yelled Pumpkinhead.
Oh
Pumpkinhead
yeah, that's a
has that
great
kind of-
one.
yeah.
if the Wendigo is folk horror, then Ghost Keeper could be folk horror too.
Ah,
Troll 2, yes.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. I mean, the town is called Nobog. Who knew
that's right.
that it was going to be full of goblins?
Green milk.
Green milk. I'm going to tighten my belt 2 more times. I won't have you piss on hospitality. Gamera is not folk horror, Dustin, but Yokai Monsters is, which is a kaiju series of 3 original movies and then 2 new ones that Takeshi Mike did that are all about the traditional kaiju monsters of the 1700s and 1800s, and they're great. The second Yokai Monsters movie, Arrow just put out the box set, is really awesome. There's some of the weirdest monsters, like an upside down umbrella can be a monster in this universe. And but they're all really, really good. And then you can have
I think upside down umbrellas are terrifying.
and there's also I can't remember what the other kaiju is with the large statue that comes to life. They'll come in.
Daijima?
Yeah. He's actually in the new Yokai Monsters movie. So, but I agree. I think Gamera, 100 years from now, Gamera, I agree with you, could be. And, he becomes like a legend that kids bring back. I also agree, Jeff mentioned Halloween 3. There's a lot of folk horror
Oh yeah,
to that. Someone's making like a fan Halloween 3 that I saw this week.
yeah.
We were just talking about it before we went live.
Oh, yeah?
It's called The Third Channel.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure what the story is. Apparently, they're going to bring back characters from the original film. Though I was like, how could they do that? Because then they would owe somebody some money. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, we're in the multiverse of madness. Anything can happen, right? I mean, horror movie characters can show up in that new Chip and Dale movie, and nobody's like, yeah, that's cool, whatever.
There's something that I want to ask you guys. Something major happened last night. Something very exciting. No, it wasn't what you're thinking. It was the Vinegar Syndrome halfway to Black Sunday sale. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys if you bought anything. Sam, I don't think you did.
No.
I bought one, and I bet you guys could guess.
Driller?
Or high.
Oh, yeah.
Had to have it.
I keep
Right
waiting
on.
because they supposlly are going to put out Benghazi de los Punks and another TV movie set and another the Jalo Volume 5. Like, that's the stuff I was waiting for. But there's still, like, Voyage of the Rock Aliens was like, Sam, I know you have a bootleg of this, but don't you need another one? And I was like, yeah, probably.
With a trailer, Bill.
Yeah. Don't you need honestly, if a $75 Invasion USA came out, I would have jumped into the internet and taken it. So
I went a little overboard. I was only going to get one thing, and that was Horror High and Stanley. But I
they
spoiled
were out for you this year. They were like a Viewmaster with Andy Warhol's Frankenstein. It was like,
Yeah.
why didn't they just put your name on the site just for that day? Like, dear Bill.
Will you be needing 2 or 3?
That's the other stuff I got. I got the Andy Warhol's Frankenstein Viewmaster reel, because why not? And they also had Scared to Death. That was one of their surprise movies.
Yeah.
I don't think they announced
Vision
that.
Horror 2.
So I was very excited about that. First of all, I haven't seen Scared to Death since it was on TV in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I thought this will look nice. I think I might have rented it on VHS and was like, God, you can't see anything. So, but Scared to Death is like, okay, Alien made a lot of money at the box office. How can we make a movie with an alien, but there can only be one, and it has to be set on Earth, and we hope we can get some almost first-rate actors to be in it. And yeah.
It's no
There was no
Slithers.
money for any
What
of it.
is?
So I can't wait to get a look at that again after all these years. And I bought Dario Argento's Trauma, which came out a long time ago, but I just didn't have it yet, and it was
Yeah, get it.
discounted. So why
Yeah,
not?
picked
I
that
was so
one up.
happy you bought it.
I was pleased with it.
Trauma,
Trauma, yeah.
yeah, I
thought you
love
meant-
it.
I thought you meant the big news about the Ray Dennis Steckler box set.
Yes. Okay, that's another big news moment. But wait a minute, stop everything. Okay, can we talk? Who said they're putting out Shriek of the Mutilated?
They,
Was it Vinegar
Vinegar
Syndrome?
Syndrome is.
Yeah,
I-
Vinegar supposedly in July.
Okay, I expected to see that on there last night, and
Me
it
too.
wasn't. So
I expected Chainsaw 2 to be there too, because that was the other one I was going to get.
yeah,
I have this dream that their release of Chainsaw 2 is going to have all the work print of all the gore on it. I know it won't, but dare to dream.
So another thing we have to mention is the September Super Drive-In Monsterama has been it's online as an event that you can. The dates are up there. Look for the Drive-In Super Monsterama Facebook page, and the event's shared on there.
Lee?
It's going to be a Christopher Lee centenary program. 2 nights, 8 movies. Not many of the movies have been announced at this point, but I think it's a fair assumption to assume that one of our movies that we're showing tonight is going to be there, The Wicker Man, because they recently shared a picture of it on the Facebook page. And some other Christopher Lee surprises. I'm sure it's going to be a fabulous time. Go like the page on Facebook and go join the event. At least
Sam, if they show Whipping the Body, I'll come.
Yes. It's going to be Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's birthday was, what, yesterday or the day before?
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday, I think.
Yeah. Today would be Vincent Price's, and then it's always like his.
Yeah, man, Peter Cushing.
Always,
Yeah.
Yeah. What an amazing coincidence.
And Linnea Quigley, I learned today.
Oh,
too.
yeah. John Carradine.
Her
Like,
birthday too?
Birthday being near theirs.
It's Linnea's birthday too.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Happy
I just
birthday,
watched a whole
Linnea.
bunch of movies with her in it because I did Fred Olen Ray movies for the last week, and wore my arms tired. I don't know, that doesn't make sense, but I think we did like
Hollywood
40 of them.
Hookers. There you go.
Yeah, oh yeah, she is in that. Not a folk horror. Could it be folk horror?
I don't think so.
There's a way we can make it folk horror.
Yeah. Not sure on that. But yeah, I'm excited. Boy, I saw Bill, did you see the Cash Flag mask that comes with the one Severance set?
No.
Yeah, there's a rubber mask that comes with the big version of the set. It's I think it's only like
With the Ray Dennis Steckler set?
Yeah.
Oh, I just said that as a joke.
No, there's one that comes with the rubber mask.
Oh my God. When Sam texted me and told me about the Ray Dennis Steckler box set, I said it should come with a couple rubber masks in it. And now it really does.
Yeah. I think that set's like $380 though.
That's
like,
awesome.
Boy, the regular one's $150. Which is a good price because it's a lot of movies and
$380.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one of those ones where it's like it's got an old one sheet from the 60s in it. Like it's got it's like the folk horror set that had like candles and pieces of driftwood and
yeah,
all sorts of stuff. A real witch came to haunt your house if you bought it. It came with that much stuff. It was like everything.
If she got to your house, maybe like around the 55th or 56th time, she might look a little tired.
Yeah.
From doing all that witching.
She knocked down their website. Sorry, easy joke.
It's not too hard.
Someone already made the joke and they like flipped out. I'm like, guys, like it's pretty easy joke. This Vinegar Syndrome site was up, never went down, always works.
Right.
Easy to order from them. It's like I'm done. And,
yeah.
So, hey, I also have Paul's DVD to mail out. Obviously, I wasn't feeling well this week, but I wanted to show Paul the artwork that's on it because I talked to him about how much I hate the Muppets. It has Leatherface cutting Scooter's head, getting ready to cut Scooter's head off. So, a quick that'll be in the mail on Tuesday once the holiday's over. Here, it's Memorial Day weekend.
There is a fan trailer of the Wicker Man set to the Muppets.
Yeah, you showed me that. I didn't have time to work it into the program tonight,
all right.
so
it's out there.
It was going to be one of our comeback bumpers, but I couldn't get it together in time.
The other big movie, well, not big, but release with Memorial Day in mind. Uncle Sam's coming out on UHD from Blue Underground. Shock that a movie they put out 4 times is coming out in a new format. But
wow, that's exciting.
Yeah. A movie that ends with a Fulci ending. It ends with the City of the Living Dead ending.
Does it?
Yeah. The kid turns to the camera and the screen cracks like glass. And it says Ferluccio at the end of it.
Wait, is Shock ends like that?
No, not Shock. Uncle Sam.
Oh, Uncle Sam. Sorry. I thought you were still talking about Shock.
No.
Sorry, I was looking for the ads for the ad gallery.
Oh, no, it's
what
good.
you were talking about.
I'm way out of it anyway. So like, everything's like through a layer of like gauze. I'm kind of like I feel like Conquest, another Fulci movie. It's just like all fog and werewolves ripping people apart, which is a nice place to be. I spent, you know what? That was the best part about being sick. It's like when you're a kid. All I'm gonna do today is watch movies. That's all I ever do. But like today, like I didn't do anything but watch movies. And I got to tell you, Bill, fungicide is something else.
Anything with Dave Bonavita in it is all
Well,
right
it's
with
funny
me.
you said is Dave in it, and I was like, is he in it? He's the main person in this one.
He's the star,
He's
as he
the
should
star.
be.
Yeah. And by the way, Dave's in Suburban Sasquatch, which I guess is Suburban Sasquatch a folk horror movie, Bill?
I think it's definitely folk horror,
Yeah.
just because I have to.
Yeah. We didn't talk about it in the commentary. Is it a folk horror or not? But, I guess it could be. But the director's second or third movie, Fungicide, is on Tubi right now. And holy cow, if you ever wanted to see a movie with human-sized mushrooms taking over a small Pennsylvania town outside of Philadelphia, shot on video and computer animated, he actually got better, but did not forget how to be a bad movie maker, if that makes sense. Like the camera angles are way better, the editing's way better. There's a lot more money put into the effects, but he didn't lose that edge of like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, and why is this happening? And why are there long scenes? Why are there long scenes devoted to talking about sandwiches and pro wrestling? There's a weird pro wrestling subplot in this one, Bill, where Dave is a pro wrestler, which you'll enjoy. He's a pro wrestler that has steroid issues, and he's moved to this small town to get off steroids. And
Wow.
Yeah, and then someone starts making these giant mushroom people that come out and start killing people. And oh wait, don't you want me to spoil how you beat them? Because it's a M. Night Shyamalan twist. Balsamic vinegar is how you. I laughed so hard I almost threw up. Like I'm so stuffed up. But the girl, for some reason, had a cup of balsamic vinegar in her car, as you do, and threw it at one of them, and a nuclear dust cloud went up from it. And she's like, "Oh my god, balsamic vinegar is the answer." And I had to pause the movie. I laughed that hard. It was
Dave Bonavita
made me laugh that hard this year.
Sam told me that Dave Bonavita does not have a shower scene, but he does have a scene in a tank top, and I got a little sneak peek from Sam.
And he did. I sent you the scene where he's rolling all around. He also has a knife fight with a mushroom in this one, so it looks like
it could happen.
It looks like giant dicks fighting him, Bill. So I mean, you may enjoy this more than I did. So 'cause I know you're in love with Dave. I think if video,
I'm not in love. I mean, we're just it's totally casual now. Also, one-sided on my side.
Also, the hero's mom from the last one is back in it. The one that goes, "I don't like you, I love you." She's in this one too. So yeah, pretty good.
Anytime she can get more screen time, that's A-okay with me.
She's actually better in this. Everybody got better. It's like everybody went to acting school and learned how to shoot stuff. But then they were still like, can it still look like it cost $10? And thankfully it did.
Sam, does it compare well to Matango, Attack of the Mushroom People?
It makes Matango look like the Wicker Man. So yes. It's like you're like, wow, I can't believe how good Matango is now.
Yeah.
I can't believe. Yeah. You're like, it's really good.
Folk horror.
It's a spiritual folk horror sequel shot on video in Wilkes-Barre.
The Wicker Man was first released in the UK. Here's a double feature. It was part of a double feature with Don't Look Now.
Oh man.
Yeah, of all things, Nicholas Rogue's Don't Look Now. That's a pretty amazing thing. I always think of Don't Look Now when I think of The Wicker Man because I knew Don't Look Now has a twist at the end also.
Sure
and
does.
Somebody totally spoiled Don't Look Now's twist for me. And I kept waiting throughout the whole movie for it to be revealed, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's going to be a twist at the end, and I know it already. It was so disappointing.
It really is. They're really fucking. That's the twist.
I don't know. I got over The Wicker Man. Like, you can watch The Wicker Man and know the twist, but not knowing that twist at the end of Don't Look Now would have really been a gut punch. So
Nicholas Rogue also did what do you call it? The Corman movie, Mask of the Red Death, which is kind of sort of folk horror-ish.
So that's one thing that these two movies have in common for me.
They were both produced by British Lion. And
Yeah.
that's part of the sad history of the Wicker Man. When the studio sold out and EMI took them over, they didn't know what to do with the Wicker Man, so they cut 15 minutes and made it the B feature.
That is a very sad story indeed. So here's some more ads for the Wicker Man. This is new technology on the Be Live chat. Apparently we can flick through Here's the first time it appeared in the United States. This was in 1974 in LA. And it was on a double feature at the drive-in. And I know it's on here somewhere. I just saw it. Oh, there it is. With Frenzy.
Oh wow, that's a wild double feature.
So yeah, that's kind of exciting, but there was no ad graphic for it, so it was just kind of like shunted off to this drive-in double. Not that that's a bad thing. Don't infer that from my reading, but yeah, it just seems to me that this is a much bigger movie. This could have been a much bigger movie than it really was, with this classic ad
It's
graphic.
obviously a movie that was more critically reconsidered years after.
Do you think? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be.
Yeah.
Because people talk about it, like it's one of the greatest things ever. Now, I mean, it really kind of is, but
Yeah.
that's not the case when it first came out. Although that double feature of Don't Look Now and The Wicker Man ran in London for about 2.5 months.
Oh wow.
Which was a big deal. I think the only other movie that could equal that would be The Exorcist or something like that. I just got into the UK ads, and it just seems like in the UK, a movie could be there for 3 days, and then it would just be gone. So you had to act fast. This is an interesting ad for the book, The Wicker Man. Was it a book first, Sean?
No, Anthony Schaefer did, or no, was it Schaefer? No, they did the book after.
Okay.
Yeah, it came after, but it was taken from the screenplay. And puffed up, added.
So one of the strange things about The Wicker Man's American release, after that 1974 appearance, it went away again until like 1978 it started coming out again. And it was sort of like, I guess maybe, I don't know if it was a road show type thing, but
a U.S. distributor, small one, Abraxas, picked it up, Bill, and they started it, small but roadshow, in the South and even in New York City, I think. They were trying to get it going again.
Yeah, it's kind of strange because even by 1979, this movie, I'm sure, would have looked dated to anybody, but in a way, it hasn't dated all that much by the early 80s. 1980 is the latest that I could find it being exhibited. So I don't know. Do you think it has a dated quality, or is it something that still could have been realistic even in the early 80s?
I think more than other movies that we've seen play for 15 and 20 years.
Yeah.
It's in color, at least. There was some black and white stuff that played for up until the 80s, if not longer.
Yeah, plus
anyway,
he's a fish out of water, so it goes, it's a bit of a timeless feel to the Summer Isle setting, It would hold up, I think.
You could
it just seems to me that
you could remake it and put a bunch of rape kids in it, make it shitty, and call it Midsummer, and everybody would love it.
Add some bees and Nick Cage, and you got
another movie.
All right, so Sam, I hear ice tinkling in the glass.
Yeah, I got my wizard robe on.
Mean?
You're sick. It's like 90 degrees out, and you're wearing a house coat, like Archie Bunker's wife or something. Anyway, Sean suggested this recipe. an email. So, Sean, thank you.
Mhm.
So
Right on.
This is the landlord's daughter. So straight out of the movie. So we're gonna start with 2 ounces of. Well, let's do. I got my lemon juice already done, so we're gonna do 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, and then we're gonna do 2 ounces of gin. And you put these first ones go into a shaker. Let's do 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, which is a pretty simple pour. Bill, I've been watching so much Bar Rescue this week, by the way. It's really taught me about being consistent about my drinks.
You're going to get a lifetime subscription to Bartender.
My favorite thing is whenever somebody doesn't listen to him, and I'm like, why the fuck wouldn't you listen to John Taffer? Right?
Yeah, I always wonder like how much if that's all played up for the show, or are people really that dumb?
I think they're that dumb. I mean, their businesses are failing. All right, so now we're going to put in 1/2 ounce of Grand Marnier. I guess that's where the witching part comes in. And then we're going to shake all that up. I learned that from Bar Rescue. This is not just up and down. Oh, I got a good triple one too. I like it.
Synchronized shaking.
Synchronize, shake it. All right, we're gonna pour all that into a glass, and then you can do a different, however you want to do your float. You can do it with sparkling wine. I'm just doing Perrier for my float because I'm fancy. And you just do as much or as little as you want. Oh, that's nice. Now, finally, we're going to do some raspberries. Let's see if I can open them. Amazingly, no cat has gotten involved yet. And now that I've said that, they're hungry.
Spoke too soon, huh?
I spoke too soon. Andy came in. He's like, what about me?
Andy, feed that cat immediately. He looks like he's starving.
He's gaining weight again, so that's good. I feel good. There you go.
Pazuzu to all of you, and Pazuzu to you, Sean, for being on the program tonight.
And thanks for coming up and sending us the recipe. Very nice. What'd you say?
So
it is the
what
cure
else?
for COVID. It just brought me back.
What else about the Wicker Man should we talk about before we go into the movie?
It's got the Equalizer in it.
Well, before that.
Yeah, well, and not Queen Latifah for the young folks in the audience.
That's right. No, but he was popular in a different show. I never heard of it. Callan?
Yeah.
Sort of British series, obviously, but he was very popular with it. They cast Britt Eklund to bring a name, international pretty girl. They brought in Miss Hammer, Ingrid Pitt, although she wasn't really a big part, but at the time she was dating a big film distributor, so that may have helped. But and then obviously we have Christopher Lee, which Anthony Schaefer claims he wrote it specifically for him, and Lee loved it. It's one of his favorite roles, definitely one of his favorite movies. And you got some other names, faces you would recognize. Aubrey Morris, I love him as Mr. Deltoid in A Clockwork Orange. He's got a nice scene. Let's see, Diane Salento, who was Miss Sean Connery at the time. They lured her out of retirement to play the school teacher. So good cast.
Are we not going to mention Rod Stewart?
Well, there's a myth. I think it is a myth that well, maybe we should talk to that after we show it, Bill.
Oh, it's no secret that Britt Eklund has magnificent nude scene in this movie.
But she's also doubled. So the thing that probably pissed them off wasn't even her.
And apparently, like so legend goes that Rod Stewart wanted to buy up every copy of The Wicker Man at some because they were an item at some point.
Oh man, I thought it was because Christopher Lee's hair was a lot like his, or the sun logo was. I thought that isn't it? That's when you know you're a star, when there's more than one urban legend about you. Rod Stewart has more than one.
Oh yeah.
How many gallons were in his stomach?
How is that even possible?
It's not, but it made a good story.
Oh, it's a great story.
I would call out the music, which is tremendous. It's diegetic, meaning it's in the movie, and it drives several key scenes. Establishes the culture of the people and the roles, especially landlord's daughter. But it really sets a tone even from the opening sequences, and gets you in the mood, and really is first film, and I think only film score for Paul Giovanni, the composer, and tremendous. I was glad a recent, Final Cut edition came with a soundtrack, and that was the reason I upgraded for it.
It's interesting too that this movie comes out at the right time in England for it to come out, because it's there was like George Sanders, and there's a reinterest in Crowley and magic of the past. The book In the Morning of the Magicians in the late 60s really started this whole culture, and it really started to get big by the late 60s, early 70s. And this movie comes out like right at it, and it's also I always look at movies in the 70s as having this premillennial tension, where they thought that people hoped that the world wouldn't end in 1999, but it seemed like it could happen, or it seemed like this great change, the dawning of the age of Aquarius, to quote a musical, was about to happen. And I think this movie really speaks to that, where it's kind of like the end of this one sun god religion being replaced with another sun god religion, or do you know what I mean? Or like, is your religion the only religion, especially once they get to the island, and what your sense of morality is, not to spoil the ending, what your sense of morality and the way that you see things happening, especially the stuff he starts yelling at the end, is so different than another group's, and who's wrong and who's right. It doesn't really make that's kind of what I like about it. It's not like a Hammer movie where somebody has to be the antagonist and someone has to be the protagonist. It kind of really takes a really different tact for that.
Well, it shows an aspect of religion like might is right, and it's definitely, Sergeant Howie thinks he's going to prevail, and literally until like a few minutes ago, he's like, oh, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
He really wakes up to it.
He's sort of confronted
he thinks he's superior, and he's going to win out and find the missing girl. And
I think that really, it fits in another movie that would play with this, while not a folk horror movie, is like Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. It seems similar, where traditional power structures are subverted by the supernatural. And kind of like the hippie ideals went out over the authority, which doesn't always, that didn't happen in movies until the late 60s, early 70s. Before, it was like cops against Triffins, and you know what I mean? It was, especially in England, they weren't set up for this. So that's what I really dig about this.
Wine is fine, David Myers Gregory. And Chris Fisnick says this is such an intelligent film. It definitely comes off that way. It's not one interesting thing about this movie, though, is it does seem like an intelligent highbrow movie, but really it also contains this segment where they show a woman nude for an extended period of time. There's a lot of sensationalism in this movie regarding sexuality, which it's not quite exploitation, but I think on the inside it was like it's like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony Shaffer wrote Sleuth, which is a great mystery chamber piece, and he crafted a really good one here. One of the lore is they had a lot more to it that obviously had been cut, some never to be found, some to be partially restored. And one of the things that upset him was the original release cut really messed with the structure of the story, compressed 2 nights in 2 days into one. And it just, seemed like they didn't spend much time giving the people of Summer Isle to show their natural pagan ideals and pagan culture, and they kind of just rushed it right along. And when you see the longer cut, I appreciate it more. I know I listened to a commentary and I was kind of surprised. Kim Newman, of all people, the writer and critic, he said he preferred the shorter cut. And I'm like, I just don't like it. It doesn't set the table as well. And it kind of just pushes you along, whereas the longer cut kind of plays out better. And, poor Howie still doesn't wake up, and and there's so many clues presented to him and he just ignores it.
It's funny. Not that this is as intelligent of a movie, but as I was researching a movie this week, Fred Olen Ray said that when he did a couple of movies for New Concord for Roger Corman's group, Corman always told him to come in at 92 minutes. He'd come in at 92, and they would always come out in the U.S. at 82 minutes. And he'd be like, well, why didn't you just tell me 82 minutes? And he was like, it was always like a guessing game of like, what 10 minutes are they going to cut out of my movie? Yeah. And he's like, after a while, he's like, well, I'll just make it 82 minutes. He goes, no, 92, that's the foreign cut. Just do it for the foreign cut. So I thought that was interesting. It's like, can you imagine not knowing what 10 minutes are going to come out of the pacing of your movie?
Well, I know this is not popular with Jallo, but I like the longer cut of Deep Red, because to me, it gives more to the relationship, with the musician and the reporter. And when she gets hurt, you get his reaction better.
Yeah.
It's like in the shorter cut, they kind of cut out that sexual politics. There's a little, but not a lot. And it really
I like it. I mean, I don't dislike the long cut. It's just that shorter version, the American cut, it just really kind of like cuts the crap and gets right to
it
all
gets
the action.
To the kills.
You want to get to the hatchet murders, not the deep.
You want to see the creepy dummy scene.
Yeah.
Every time I watch every time I see the extended version of Deep Red, I keep thinking, oh God, the bathtub scene hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is like so long.
Yeah. Sean, did you see Dark Glasses yet?
No, I don't have the access connectivity that you do, Sam.
I can maybe.
Yeah, if you do that, I would love to see it. Because
Mike Justice is full of hot takes tonight. Liking Creepers better than Phenomena. What drugs do they have in Portland now? How can you send them to us? Yeah, I'll talk to you about Dark Glasses during the break.
I mean, I've been reading about it. People are saying it's not his best, but it's definitely like a rebound.
Yeah,
a return to some of his good stuff.
If it came out around the same time as like Sleepless, I think people would love it. Do you know what I mean? And like the other movies hadn't happened, so I think that's a pretty solid thing to look for.
Darren has some interesting insight.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true.
Roger Corman.
4 reels, cheaper than 5.
Even in the VHS era, I kind of think Corman was just stuck to that 88 minutes, and he was like, "This movie feels 6 minutes too long. Let's cut it by 6."
Well, he would cut dialogue and put in a boob shot. That was one of his dictums.
This scene where a giant worm slithers all over your naked body and almost crushes you is super essential, and the foreign buyers need this. It's always the foreign buyers. Meanwhile, they open up the door to the foreign buyers, and it's just 4 Roger Cormans in different outfits.
Somehow that sexual violence,
Illuminati, right, Sam?
Yeah,
that sexual violence is necessary.
Yeah, we need this worm to assault you if we want to make this movie happen. And like, yeah, okay. There was no Me Too in back then.
So, anything else we should say before we get to our first film of the night, which is The Wicker Man, starring Christopher Lee, who would have been 100 years old just a day ago.
I'm excited to watch it. I'm really just super jazzed about it, and I'm excited to be on the show tonight. And thanks for having me. And I apologize if any time tonight if I'm a bit off. So
Yeah, of course we have you. It's your show.
yeah, I know.
if you're
So,
you're not there, that's unusual.
Also, David mentioned the shorter cut of Possession. I would love to watch Possession on this show, but I really feel like it would really upset. It's not a fun movie. It's like
Yeah.
Dark movie. Though I want to just make. I think what we should do, Bill, is we should just film a 10-minute scene of just you and I reenacting the groceries on the subway scene, of just like screaming and flipping out on my porch, and just throwing stuff all over the place.
I don't know if I could survive the performance that Isabella Johnny does in Possession. God. So,
I don't
maybe
think
that might not be a good idea.
Movie was ready to survive the performance. They were like, "This is the last movie I'll ever be in. I got to put it all out there."
I'm surprised she worked again.
I need to get educated.
The 4K, there's a 4K cinema one that's out. That's really good. By the way, Bill, before we start, this is third segment, but I'll say it. I got Grindhouse releasing's Death Game this week. Holy fuck, that movie's awesome. It hits everything I like in movies. And now I've watched all 5 different versions because it was made 5 times. Who knew there's a Spanish version of it? Who knew that there was a movie made before it? They stole the script before it even came out and made a movie, Little Miss Innocence, before Death Game even came out. Wow. I love it. It's so good. If you guys haven't got it yet, there's only, I think, like 25 copies left of the original one. So also someone mentioned when we were looking at the double features, I'm not worried about that. On the double features, someone mentioned that there was one at Deep Throat. Deep Throat, the R-rated cut is playing theaters. They sent me a press release about it. I don't know why I'd want to see the R-rated cut, but it is. And you can meet Gerald Damiano's kids in New York next week. There was one person in New York that watches the show that I sent the press release to that is very excited and will be there. I'm sure you can guess who that is. And,
all right.
And that's it. I'm excited to watch this with you guys. And and I'm super excited for the next movie too.
Oh, I forgot to ask. Let us know in the chat if you are watching the movie The Wicker Man tonight for the very first time, and especially let us know if you know the twist ending. So we have to at least keep the show going for another couple minutes to give people a chance to respond to that. I can't remember the first time I saw The Wicker Man, which probably would have been more recent. For years I never even cared about The Wicker Man. And then when I watched it, I was like, wow, this movie's really good. I don't know. What was I thinking? But I remember being aware of it because I had that book, Horror Movies by Alan Frank, which was a large size, like an early version of Nightmare USA, I guess. It was just like this long rant about horror movies from back in the silent era up until the contemporary. It came out in 1977. And there was an image in The Wicker Man of that candle on the side of his bed that's a hand.
Hand of glory.
Hand of glory.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking at them thinking, what the hell could that movie be about? And boy, was I in for a shock.
But we have a special guest in the chat.
Oh, hi, Linda Gillen.
Hi, Linda. Oh, that's
nice to see you. Thank you so much for popping in to say hello. We're watching The Wicker Man tonight, starring Christopher Lee and Britt Eklund, Mrs. Rod Stewart, who once attempted to buy up every copy of this movie, as legend would have it, because she has an extended nude scene in it. So,
Bill,
I don't know. I can't.
This, or we could wait.
Oh yeah, let's see that. Wow.
So there's been many additions. I flashed the Anchor Bay, and then Studio Canal is the current rights holder. They did a final cut. We'll see.
Is there a UHD one yet?
The US final cut. But this is the Australian label, Imprint.
Yeah.
And if you really love the movie or want to really dig into it, This is the set. It has every single feature of these, plus about 5 or 6 more, and at least 2 new commentaries.
Oh wow.
So it's 3
Wow.
discs. Whoops, sorry. 3 discs. So we got the final cut version with a new commentary. This is the final cut. Sorry. This is the more or less the Anchor Bay disc remastered with a couple new commentaries. And then this third disc is actually a soundtrack CD and entirely features. So it really digs deep. And if you didn't have the final cut version, this pulls every bit of material. It's got new material, a really nice video essay by Kat Ellinger. I love her stuff. A great breakdown of the music and the score and the symbolism. I mean, it was really worth the upgrade for someone like me who has the previous, and it's pretty affordable. It's about $109, depending on the outlet you get it from. And
Not a horrible price for as much as you're getting, though.
no. For
I think that's fair. That costs a lot of money to put together, I'm sure.
Indicator
and
stuff.
I just thought it was amazing though. They pulled all the features because I thought the Studio Canal Europe release was never gonna make its way over to us. So highly recommend it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Sam Elliott was dreaming in everything he's in, but especially frogs, because that's like the clearest view of his anatomy that we ever get in a film.
Even better
he
than
in,
Lifeguard?
the Legacy too, Bill? Isn't he show up in the Legacy too?
Well, you can see him from behind in the Legacy, and that's kind of nice too. But really, Sam's best feature is clearly visible in Frogs. So in several scenes.
Is the Legacy a folk horror movie? I think so.
I think the Legacy is somebody who watched Suspiria and said, we have to make that movie.
I don't want to make Terror, but I do want to make Suspiria. How do I do it? How do I make it happen?
I think the Legacy could be folk horror if we thought long and hard enough about it.
Is the other folk horror? The other feels more folk horror. I'm thinking of like any of the paperbacks from Hell books, all like Dark Secret of Harvest Home, the other. Because I think it's that early 70s kind of feel, pre-Blockbuster. It's like this like weird trip to the like Straw Dogs is kind of like that too.
Whoops.
I zoomed out. Zoomed in.
I replaced us with the reel. With a countdown.
I was getting played off. It's like the Oscars getting played off. It's like, hey.
It's like a cane coming out behind you and pulling you off camera.
It's like I'm getting swept off the stage like Evening at the Improv.
Becca and I are keeping in touch by text, and if you
she'll walk in the room sometimes and be like,
all right. So if you go to the Groovy Doom Facebook page, I posted a link to watch The Wicker Man for free online at the Internet Archive. You can watch it there, or you can download it for free.
If you're ever looking for a movie, the Internet Archive has a ton of stuff. It's a great resource and a lot of really great quality films in there too.
Right. So go check it out, watch The Wicker Man with us, and come back afterwards. We'll have some more to say about The Wicker Man, and we'll talk about our second feature on the second segment, the Drive-In Asylum double feature. See you then.